Happy day, Joy Starter. Hope you're having the best day. Yes, I am rocking, if you're watching the video version of this, my super patch, my Zen patch. I still love them. I still use them. If you have questions, we'll drop a link in the show notes. I love my super patches. Also, I want to say about this week's episode is I'm so stoked to take you back in the vault. If you haven't heard me say, this year is 10 years of I'm Changing the Narrative. 10 years of I'm Changing the Narrative. And so we're taking you back in the vault of some of my most amazing talks from the very beginning. And this is something that people have constantly requested from me over the 10 years. I want to hear your talks. I want to hear your talks. I wish I could go with you. So enjoy, take notes. This is a message while it's changed, and it changes every single time that I go in and speak, because like at Minnesota, I've been once a year. So my message changes every year. But the foundation of the message is the same, y'all. And I'm so proud. Please remember, as always, to like, subscribe, share this with one person, persons, 10 persons that need to hear this. Love you guys.
So I went to Auburn, and I just thought I was going to be a general assignment reporter, right? And I got there, and I quickly realized that house fires and car wrecks, which is something that you cover on a daily basis, were not my thing. And I got sent out. I was working for the campus TV station. I got sent out to cover this baseball interview. And I don't know if you've ever been so nervous that your eyeballs literally shook. And but that's how nervous I was. So I was interviewing the coach, and I'm like this close to him. I felt like I was probably too close to him now looking back, but my eyeballs were shaking. I was sweating, and I thought, if I make it alive out of this interview without passing out, like, it's going to be an absolute miracle. And so, but the cheesiest thing happened. The clouds parted and the sun shone through, as cheesy as that sounds. And I realized in that moment that I was going to be a sportscaster. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, it hit me. I put two and two together. I was like, I've loved sports my entire life. This is what I'm going to do with my life. And I remember not long after that, I got a chance to be down on the sideline of a football game. And I'd always loved football. And you guys are a little bit probably too young, but you can laugh with me. Like, there was this thing called a VHS tape for my adults in the back of the room. When I was growing up, my stepdad would stop. He was a big Alabama fan. He would stop the game, and he would slow it down, and he would say, here's a 3-step drop, here's a 5-step drop, here's what, here's a secondary. I mean, he broke down the game for me, so I understood it like not a lot of other females understood it. But I still remember the first time I was on a sideline, like the crunch of the helmets, the speed of the game, the adrenaline, like all of it. And I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. And I left there, and I was working at a TV station. I'd interned there, and they said, well, you can stay on, but we don't have any room for you in the sports department. And I was like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to make my own path. I'm going to figure out my own way, because I really, really wanted to stay in sports. So I started working. There was a guy who was on the Denver Broncos national champion, the Super Bowl team. He played for Vince Dooley at Georgia national championship team. And he said, Rachel, you can come in and do my radio show twice a week. Now, y'all see females on the sidelines. You see females doing a lot of things in sports, but you don't hear a ton of females doing sports talk radio, right? And I loved it. I was hooked. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I got to tell you this, looking back now. I don't know if you've ever wanted something so badly in your life and it did not come easy to you, and you had to fight and claw and work and push and persevere to get it. I don't know. I don't know if that's something coming up for you in the future, but let me tell you something. The harder you work for something, whether it's a position, a starting position, whether it's to get up the depth chart, whether it's a job or a female in your future, whatever it is, the harder you have to work to get it, the more you appreciate it. How do I know that? I know that because of the fact that I worked for 3 years when I got out of school. 3 years. I worked at that radio station. I was a sideline reporter for an arena team. I was a NASCAR reporter. I was the editor of a Latin paper, the sports editor of a Latin paper. all of those things. I worked for 3 years, and I never got paid. Yep. I had to clock in, clock out. I had responsibilities. I also did a football show, a pregame show that was like right before the official Auburn pregame show with a former center and quarterback at Auburn. And I was expected to be there, expected to show up, expected to give 100%, and I wasn't getting a paycheck. But you know what? Now, I am so grateful that I worked those jobs. I had to go home at night and work another job just to like keep the lights on and be able to pay my bills. But I'm so grateful because I appreciate every single time I go on Sirius, every single time I write an article for Gridiron, every single time 4 years ago. I still thank God and don't even know how this happened. Of all the females hosts, male or female in the country, I got chosen to host the college football playoff, do pregame and halftime at the college football playoff. So here I am, like, making history in Jerry's world. Like crazy, y'all. This is a kind of little funny thing. You've seen that stadium, right? Like the scoreboard and the screen in the middle is like so big, the kickers hit it sometimes. Well, you're so big on that screen, like literally you could have parked a VW bug in my nostril. Like that's how big you are on that screen. And I'm just like going, I'm pinching myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my life. And I've had the opportunity to be able to do that every year, coming up on the 4th year. But I don't know that I would have those opportunities and that humility and the things that I've been able to do if I didn't work for almost 3 years without a paycheck. So let me break this down for you, what you can take away from this. The harder you have to work, the more you are going to appreciate it in life. And don't hate on that struggle. Don't hate on that struggle, because that struggle will make you stronger. It'll bring out your manhood. It'll bring out your character. It'll bring out your perseverance. So don't hate on that struggle. So finally, I got a paying job. Finally. And I was hosting a radio show in the afternoon, had a co-host. And I would get these calls. And these calls would go something like this. There were like 2 major guys that would call in. So forgive my hick accent, because that's what this guy was. But he'd call in and he'd go, "You don't know nothing about football. You ain't never strapped on a helmet." And that's what he would call in and say. And he would call in and say that a lot. And I'd go, "Oh, no, I know about football. I've studied it with my stepdad, and I've covered it for all these years, and I know about football." But little did I know what was coming, that there was like an ounce of truth in that. So not long after that, my co-host came up with this crazy idea, and he said, "Why don't you go to training camp with the local indoor arena team, championship arena team?" And I was like, "Sure." My voice got all high, and I was like, I had no clue what I was getting myself into, obviously. So the coach comes on the radio, and we're like doing a regular interview, and at the end of it, my co-host goes, "Hey, Coach Gibson, you think Rachel could go to training camp with you?" And Coach is like blindsided. He's like, "What?" And he got real quiet, and he said, "Okay." He said, I need to clear it with the league. She'd have to get a physical. She'd have to sign waivers." And he got quiet again. And he said, 2 conditions. One, are y'all ready for this? One, we're going to tackle her. I'm small, yes. Petite. One, we're going to tackle her. And 2, we're going to treat her like everybody else. So she's going to have to run wind sprint. She's going to have to learn the playbook. If she forgets her spider pad, she's going to have to drop and give us 50, the trainer, which I did. So he was like, they're going to be treated like everybody else. So the goal was never to play. That was never I never wanted to play in a season. I just wanted to learn football. I wanted to understand it from a perspective, from your perspective, what you go through, what you sacrifice physically, how you love each other, how you support each other, how you have each other's back. And as a female, I could talk about it my whole life, but until I really experienced it, and now when somebody comes at me like that, some uneducated dude comes at me like that, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Let me tell you what I did. So I have a video, but I need to tell you about this video before I play it, okay? first of all, it is okay to laugh because I'm going to be up here laughing at myself. If it were not for this talk that I have been giving all over the country, I would never play this video because it is super embarrassing. It's actually mortifying. I'll tell you a little bit more about training camp when the video's over, but I will say this to you. I made it for 5 days of two-a-days, 3 hours of football in the morning and 3 hours at night. I know how you feel in training camp, like when you just come home and you collapse on the couch, like you can't even like make words or sentences and you just eat and fall out. I know what that feels like. And I'll also say that there is nothing humanly possible that can get a female ready, in my opinion, for getting hit by a man, like tackled by a man. Like, I don't physically think, looking back, there was anything I could have done. I thought I was training. I was like, yeah. I didn't know anything. So this talk is interactive, so feel free to laugh with me, not at me, right? And so you can enjoy this little video of me playing football. So I'm still friends with a lot of the guys today. Tell you a couple of little stories about that. Yes, I was wrapped from like my ankles to my neck. I hurt in places that I didn't even know I had. So I played wide receiver for a couple of days, and I played DB for a couple of days. And the story with this camp and this team, and they're a championship team in their league. They've won a couple of championships. But the story with this team is no one makes it again automatically. Everybody has to fight for their job, right? So I remember going into the first meeting, and some of the guys knew me from being a sportscaster in the area, but the rest of them were like, why is she in our meeting room, and why is she sitting there kind of dressed up like she is today? And then coach finally goes, she's going to go to training camp with us. And like everybody busted out laughing, and they laughed for about 5 minutes, and then they stopped laughing. Coach was like, no, it's for real. It's not a joke. So most of the guys were amazing to me. That fullback, that big old guy, he was like my best friend. Still know him today. He protected me. Love him. There was a DB that hated me from the very beginning. He thought I was there as like a media stunt, which I wasn't. I just wanted to learn football. And so we were inside because it was bad weather, and we were on a gym floor, and he hit me so hard, I flew up in the air, it knocked all the wind out of me, and I landed on my stomach, slid across the floor, and it took all the skin off on the top of my knees. Yeah. And my fullback friend was like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him, Rachel. And I'm like, no. I'm like, don't do that to him. Like, he wants the same thing that you want. He's just going about it in a different way. You know, not a really positive way. He's trying to kill me. But I don't want you to do that. So you saw my nifty wide receiver gloves. I had cleats, too. I was dating a guy at the time who was like, we got to have you look the part. He was like, let's go down here to the sporting goods store and get you some gloves and get you some cleats so you can look the part. Well, we would start practice, and I love my teammates. And so I'm like injured from head to toe, but I kept letting them go in front of me so they would get wrapped and they, before me. So the one day that I was running late and I didn't put on my wide receiver gloves, this crazy thing happened. Like my fingers touched the pigskin, like actually touched the football, and I caught a football, and the whole gym erupted. It was like a scene out of Rudy. They were like, number 5. They like lifted me up on their shoulders, patted me everywhere except my rear end because I am still a woman. I mean, it was awesome. Like, I will never forget it. And then I spent another couple of days playing DB to learn the other side of the game. And as I said in that little clip as I was leaving, I was getting emotional as I was leaving. I didn't know what I know now. I didn't understand fully what you guys go through. I just couldn't. I was doing my best as a sportscaster, but then once I experienced it, I understand how much you guys are a unit. And if one guy takes a play off or is lazy or doesn't learn his playbook or loafs in practice, that will come out in the game. That's like scientific. I know your coaches are telling you that, but I've been all over the country from Alabama, Baylor, Oregon, like all over. And the one continuous thing that coaches tell me in all these years I've been doing this is that what you do in practice rolls over to the game. 100%. So if you've got a teammate that is not giving it his all, one of the things I like to talk to you guys about is the power of one. I'm not asking you to go out and change the whole team. What I am asking you to do is be man enough to call him out if he's not doing right. Are you man enough to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If he's doing something that's detrimental to him or to the team, are you man enough to call him out? Are you man enough to call that guy out to your right? Yeah, because that's what I realized. I realized in going to that training camp that football teams are a unit. And when you function as a unit, you win on the field and off. And I think the bigger thing, and we'll talk about it later, is are you man enough to tell him in off-the-field situations, man, I don't know if that girl's great for you. I don't know if that situation's great for you, dude. You're breaking the rules. You're putting our team at odds right now. Putting yourself at odds. Would you be man enough in an off-the-field situation to tell him that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not picking on you, I promise. But here's the thing. If you had asked that girl at the end of that video what I wanted to do with my life, what my life's goal was, I would have told you it was to be a famous sportscaster. All I wanted was my name in lights. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to have notoriety. I wanted fame. It was all about me, 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 me. And I know as I'm traveling around to college football campuses, and I say this at every stop, there are men in this room, actually probably a lot of you, you have been raised and you have been told by teachers, by coaches, by your peer groups, by your people in school that you're special, you're set apart, you're amazing, you can do no wrong. It's all about you, right? That you are an extraordinary athlete. And I am not saying that you are not special. But what I am here to tell you is something that I learned, and it completely changed my life. And once I learned it, everything else changed for me. And if I never learned this one secret, I would not be standing in front of you today. Because I know a lot of people, y'all, former athletes, current athletes, and it's all about them. It's all about the money and the fame and the girls and the jewelry and the cars and all that. And guess what? They are some of the most miserably sad people I know. But the ones who have figured it out, this one secret that I figured out, I'm telling you, man, they are like a light, a moth. They just attract people to them because they're happy, like deep down in their soul. And the secret is this. It's not about you. This life you've been given, this air in your lungs, this day you've been given, this football talent you've been given, this ability to play football at an institution like this opportunity, you think it's about you? You think it's about advancing you? You think it's all about what can I do for me? No. How can you use football to change the world? That's a bigger question, because here's the thing. I'm about to flip it upside down for you. You've been told your whole life. I know this. You know how I know this? Because I've had at least 4 to 6 guys on campuses across the country afterwards, and you'll have this opportunity, hopefully, to come hug my neck if this talk meant anything to you. But I've had guys come up and whisper in my ear and say, "You're the first person that told me I had worth outside of football." Some of you have been told by your family and your friends that your purpose in life, that your worth, your purpose is football. And your athletic ability, that is your worth, that's your purpose. That is bull. You are blessed to be able to have the athletic ability you are. You're blessed to be able to play football, but it is not your purpose. Football is merely a platform for you to be able to change the world, for you to be able to set the world on fire with your good deeds. Do y'all know that almost 75% of NFL players within 5 years of being out of the league are broke, divorced, or drug addicted, or all three. You know why I think that is? I think because for so long, those guys thought football is everything. Like, this is what I was supposed to do. This is what I was born to do. And maybe your mama told you that. Maybe your uncle told you that. Maybe your grandfather told you that. But I'm here to tell you they were wrong. And then when football was done with them, it spit them out. They got injured or they were done with football. All of a sudden, they're like, excuse my French, who the hell am I? What's my purpose? What was I made for? And if I can get you to start thinking right now about that greater purpose and how you can use your platform, how you can use Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook to be able to change the world and do good things, man, you won't be a statistic. No matter what you do with your life, you will not be a statistic. Because there is something in each one of you that gets you. But let me tell you something, you were created for more. And you have such a gift. You are a gift to the world. And if I can get you to start thinking about what that is, I don't know what it is. For each one of you, it's going to be something different. But it's something that's always bothered you, or you thought twice about, or you've cared about. And that is what you were created for. And that's how you can set the world on fire with your good deeds. Because let me tell you how I started this talk. This is called changing the narrative. The talk is. I started this talk because last summer I was doing Sirius shows. And by the way, I'm the first and only female on Sirius XM College Sports Nation, which every time I do a show, and I'm missing a show tonight to be here with you guys, every time I do a show, I pinch myself and I say, thank you, God. Like, this is like me, like what, me? You know, like with all these Heisman Trophy winners and former national championship winning coaches, and then me. But last summer I was doing Sirius, and you would get on the internet and you would go on Fox or CBS or whatever it was, ESPN, and y'all, it was negative, 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 negative. And I would have to take breaks in between my show and just go and cry. Like, what the heck is happening to this game that I love so much? We're letting guys that aren't doing it the right way, we're letting them steal the headlines. What are we doing? And I would be in the airport, and I would have people come up to me, and I'm real protective over you guys. You'll figure that out after this is all said and done. I would have people come up to me, men and women, and they would say, I tell them what I did, and they'd say, oh, college football players aren't nothing but a bunch of, and you fill in the blank. And I'm a spicy Latina. That made me mad. That makes me mad. Because I know that there are good guys, amazing men, amazing coaches that are playing this game, and until you guys step up and start taking the headlines back for good and start setting the world on fire with your good deeds and start using your platform, these yahoos are going to continue to steal the headlines. And that's what I've been going around and talking about for a year. And you know what the crazy thing is? It's changing lives.